Welcome to Project Pack number 29. My name is Martha.
My name is Julie.
Hi, Julie.
Hi, Martha. This is day 5 of Project Pack 29.
And I'm really looking forward to kind of guiding everybody through this wonderful day with you.
I know, it's going to be a fun day. If you are just finding this series now, we do encourage you to go back to the beginning of the series, to our introduction video and the day 1 prep, because we are building each day upon what we've done the previous day. So we do encourage you to start from the beginning.
Yes, we are working on a large piece of beautiful paper, kind of working oversized and linking our tangles. It's been a lot of fun.
It has been a lot of fun. So as we get started today, we're going to begin, as always, with the first step of the Zentangle Method, which is gratitude and appreciation.
Take a moment to just be grateful for this time that you're taking for yourself.
And when you're ready to get started, you can gather up all of your materials. We have our pens that can be found in the Project Pack 29 packs, which are available on Zentangle.com or through some of our certified Zentangle teachers.
So it's good to have everything at your fingertips, but right now we're going to be tangling, and I am going to use the black micron 08 for this next part.
Which is a thicker nib than some of you might be used to, but when we're working on these big surfaces, sometimes it's fun to really explore these different nib sizes.
So we're going to be working on the other side of this beautiful poke root that Maria did. And as we are talking about linking tangles, we are always wanting to find sort of common strokes. So I'm going to start here, and you can see I'm sort of using that pencil line as a guide, and I'm going to make quite a big spiral. And you can watch me first if that's helpful. Kind of get the idea of the sizing. And kind of seeing how that spiral goes behind the poke root.
I am already so excited for this spiral.
Well, Julie, you do love spirals, and I do think of you when I do something like this. And depending on where your poke root are, you can kind of get creative and have those lines pop out behind wherever they seem to go. Now, this is where we're going to start making the connection between what we've just done. And I'm going to actually aura the spiral here. And my spacing is somewhat consistent with the stems of those beautiful poke root.
I love that, what you did there.
Well, here we are, like we said, trying to borrow common strokes so that these tangles kind of develop a language that they have with each other.
I like how when you find these common strokes, sometimes they're not very obvious, but if they weren't there, the piece wouldn't have the same feel to it, same movement to it.
These are all subtle things that you kind of build into your Tangle toolbox over time, and it definitely elevates your work. So now I'm going to be dividing this spiral into some spaces, and I'm using kind of a double line, again, borrowing that aura space and breaking it up into squarish like fragment spaces.
I like the great care you take to make sure that the tangle continues on beneath that poke root, and it takes a little extra time, but it's definitely worth it.
Well, and I'm just sort of seeing this now, and because I'm turning my very large tile every time, I'm sort of seeing something different each time. Again, just giving myself perspective, seeing what's not there, and filling it in as I go. So we have these fragment spaces, and we're going to, but first, wait, I'm seeing an opportunity here. There was just a begging space to put this extra little poke root. So here it is, sneaking up into our spiral as if it was always there.
That's something to remember when you are working on connecting these tangles is that you can kind of do it in layers. You might have not, when Maria was first drawing those poke roots, she might have not seen that space as inviting as you did once you put your spiral in. So it's kind of fun to see how these things play together and you build off of each other.
So now we are entering into our fragment building phase, and I'm doing basically a crescent moon on either side of each one of these bands that separates our fragment spaces. Kind of like that little space buffer in between them.
And this O8 is great for inking in those ladybug shapes that we have on our crescent moon.
So we have created this spiral that's really going underneath everything that we've already done. So you're going to have to do some work to kind of figure out where these elements go. And that just was something that worked out. The little bottom of the poke root was exactly the size of the crescent moon that I wanted to make. That was kind of a fun, happy accident.
But this is a part where you really do want to take your time and lean into those philosophies of the Zentangle method of, one stroke at a time and not trying to get too far ahead of yourself.
I kind of love the wonkiness of this spiral. I was not looking to have anything be perfectly measured. And because each fragment space is a little bit different, then my crescent moon are all a little bit different. And I just feel like it adds such an interesting texture.
There's a lot of character to it, which I really like.
So now I'm going to switch pens to my O3 just so I have a little bit more control with the detail. But whatever works on your tile is fine for you. So just going to add sort of a variation on crescent moon, which is with a triangular space or a three-sided space. And I'm going to fit those in with an aura right in between each one of the crescent moons. First going along one side and then the other.
If you look at the auras on your triangles versus your crescent moon shapes, they're just, the thickness because you switched pens is just slightly different, but it just adds a little texture to the
Exactly.
To the tangle.
Just a little variation. And again, sort of responding to how much space you have to fill in. Each one of these inked in triangles with aura are a little bit different in size. I love following along a spiral because you don't have to really think about anything but just the next little space that you're going to be filling in. You can really get lost in that process. I keep looking at that little poke root. I think it's so funny how
I know. And you couldn't have really planned that.
No, it was unplanned. And again, I think that comes with practice, or the more you tangle, the more you find yourself with these happy accidents. And a lot of that does present itself when you do have common strokes from one tangle to another. Just trying to get into that last little bit. And then in the crook there is always, you have to be a little bit creative.
I do love that.
Well, it's always nice to add a little drama to a composition, right? And if you see empty spaces, as you are probably realizing now, we are building this composition as we go, and leaving opportunities that might arise later as we start to join all of these tangles together.
I love how the poke root is this like very organic tangle, and then we have the Marsu that is a drama tangle, and then by connecting them with that common stroke, you bring these two worlds together.
And really, you can almost bring any two tangles together in that way.
But that's what I was trying to get at, is that you don't have to go like an organic tangle to another organic tangle. Like, you can find that connection between all tangles.
So I'm shading this spiral in a very kind of traditional way that we normally do, which is adding graphite just on the inside of each of the spiral bands.
Yeah, you're not filling that whole band with graphite. You're leaving the white space in the middle, which creates that contrast and gives the spiral a highlight.
Yes, and an added element would be this spiraled initial stroke there that we're also trying to not get any graphite in, kind of letting that stay pure.
Shading just really makes that pop.
So, shifting gears a little to the corner of our composition, we have a pretty heavy graphite that we've added down there with the Sketch and Wash pencil.
And you're just warming up your jelly roll on your
little
scratch paper.
Yeah, I just have a little scratch paper on the side because jelly rolls can take a little time to get rolling if it's the first time you've used it. And I am doing a very familiar tangle we call tripoli.
The tangle of the year this year.
Tangle of the year. How could we not add it here? So it starts with a three-sided shape. And again, I am borrowing that width of the stem of the poke root and trying to stick with that consistent aura space. Sometimes the jelly rolls are a little sticky on the Sketch and Wash, but they get going, again, using that little scrap paper. And a light touch.
Yeah, definitely need a light touch with these pens. I love how your triangles in the tripoli here aren't like perfect triangles. They've got a little movement to them, and I think that's always a fun characteristic that you can explore with tripoli.
So tripoli starts with an aura line along the previously drawn line, and then you create a three-sided shape. Aura line, and then a three-sided shape. And I'm just building these right down to the corner. I might add one or two more just so it's not a straight line across, kind of giving it a little interest, if you will.
I do love the jelly roll on top of that really dark Sketch and Wash.
So I'm doing, again, one of our favorite fillers for tripoli, and it's just an arc along every one of the corners, line to line, corner to corner. And then inking in the center. So 3 arcs, and then some ink in the center.
And again, this is where you really want to be mindful of that light touch. The ink of the jelly roll is going to flow out much more easily the lighter you touch, which sounds kind of counterintuitive.
It is counterintuitive, even though I know the answer to that, and I know the system. Each time I pick up a jelly roll, I do have to remind myself that, oh, I can just relax here and let the pen do the work. So you see this meta pattern developing, and we find that meta patterns appear magically, especially when we use kind of a fragment and reticula process, which tripoli is essentially a big grid, right?
It was before its time.
It was, yes.
But it really was kind of like where reticular fragments originated.
Mm-hmm. So you want to make sure that your ink is dry. And then I'm just adding a little detail with my 08 pen.
And you're leaving that little white dot in the middle.
Yeah.
That's very intentional, what she's doing.
And sometimes these features feel strange. You know, you're like, well, wait a minute, I like the way it looked all white. And you can actually leave yours all white. But as with the rest of this composition. We're not done yet, so we like to just build and build and kind of push the envelope a little bit to see how many wonderful things we can add.
Well, Martha, that is beautiful. And
Oh, thank you. I can't wait to see what the next person, it's almost like playing tag
I
or
know.
a handoff or a big relay. So we'll hand you off to day 6, and we can't wait to see what you guys do with all this.
Have fun.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.